Hello students. Today's topic for discussion is kinds of meeting. In the last presentation, I discussed what are the prerequisites of meeting to which are required to conduct a valid meeting. Now in this presentation, I am going to discuss what are the different kinds of meeting. Here we go with the classification of meeting. If you can see the picture, it is categorized into two types, that is meetings of members and other meetings. Meetings of members is subdivided into four types, that is statutory meeting, annual general meeting, extraordinary general meeting and class meetings. And under other meetings we have meetings of directors, meetings of creditors and meetings of debenture holders. In the coming slides we shall discuss each type of meetings in detail. To start with, first one, meetings of members. Under that, first one, statutory meeting. Now what do you mean by statutory meeting? It is the first meeting of the members of the company after its incorporation. I hope you all remember what do you mean by incorporation. Yes, it must be held within 6 months from the date at which the company is entitled to start. It may be noted that statutory meeting is held only once in the lifetime of the company. That means at the beginning of the company, when it receives its certificate of incorporation, it shall conduct this meeting, and the purpose of this meeting is to acquaint the members with all the important facts, yes, that which are relating to new company, like their position, what are the future prospects, and what are the activities that they are going to take up, etc, etc. Yes, and which companies have to conduct the statutory meetings is, first one, every public company which is limited by shares, and also every public company limited by guarantee and having a share capital. Yes, now at times you may not see in a public company which is limited by guarantee and which does not have share capital. Okay, now for that kind of companies you no need to conduct any statutory meetings, but for a public company which is limited by guarantee and which has a share capital should conduct this statutory meeting. And you should also note that every private company and public company which is limited by guarantee and has no share capital is not required to conduct any statutory meeting. This is what I was talking about in the previous point. Here are the legal provisions of statutory meeting. Yes, and these provisions are contained under section 165 and are here below. Yes, to start with, first one, the statutory meeting must be held within a period of not less than 1 month and not more than 6 months from the date on which the company is entitled to commence its business. That means a company has to conduct a statutory meeting within 1 month. If it is not possible to conduct it within 1 month, it should not take a period of not more than 6 months of time period. Yes, and next we have board of directors need to prepare a report. And what is that report? It is called as a statutory report. Yes, and once they prepare that particular report, it must be sent to every member of the company at least 21 days before the date of which the meeting is to be held. Yes, and if any delay in sending this report may be noted by the members who are entitled to attend and vote at the meeting. And next we have, the statutory meeting is sent to the members to enable them to know full information on all the important matters relating to the company. Like what is the information that they have to get to know, which is specified in the report, like what is the total number of shares allotted, yes, and also giving their details, what is the total amount of cash received by the company from all the shares that are being allotted, yes, and any receipts or payments of the company which have been made, yes, so any preliminary expenses and particulars about directors, managers, secretaries, auditors, and also if there is any calls in arrears, even those are to be included. And also we have the particulars of commission or brokerage if we have paid to any of the member. Yes, these all need to be included in the statutory report, which the members have to know before that they could attend the meeting. And next we have the statutory report must be certified. Now, who should certify? It should be certified by at least 2 directors. And remember, one of the director must be a managing director if the company is having such kind of designation. If such designation is not there, the 2 directors can certify that. Yes, and once it is certified by the directors, it should be certified by the auditors. Yes, the companies will have auditors, right? Now, it should also be certified, like stating that the report is correct. Yes, and this is under section 165. Okay, and next we have whatever the certified copy is there, that is we have got in point number 4, that need to be sent to the registrar of companies. As I was talking to you all about this particular point happens in the company, that need to be communicated to the registrar. Okay, in the same way, even this report also need to be submitted to the registrar. And lastly, we have on the commencement of the meeting, the board of directors shall produce a list of members who shall which shall include their names, address, occupation, along with the number of shares that are held by them. Yes, it is just a kind of information, and this information will be open and accessible by any member of the company during the meeting. That means they cannot maintain any of the information in secrecy. Yes, any person can, it is easily accessible by any person in the company. Yes, so here are the legal provisions of statutory meeting and what is the meaning of statutory meeting. Next, we have annual general meeting. Now, what do you mean by annual general meeting? It is a regular meeting of the members of the company, and it is to be held in each year, that is every year, apart from other meetings which we will be discussing later. Okay, now it is important that every year this meeting should be conducted for sure. Yes, and the purpose of this meeting is to provide an opportunity to the members of the company to express their views on the management regarding the company's affairs. Yes, how the company is going on, and what do they think of upcoming projects or ongoing projects, and what are the happenings of the company. Everything, it includes each and everything. Yes, and this meeting enables the shareholders to exercise control over the company because they may discuss and review the working of the company. As you all know, shareholders are the real owners, and they will not be always there in the company to look after each and every activity. So this meetings, that is these annual general meeting which are held once in each financial year, will give the shareholders to know what is the status of working of each and every member, and also various projects. If they find anything which is fishy or which is not as per the plan, they can immediately take a action plan. Yes, and if they have the right to ask any question relating to the accounts as well as any other information that is related to the company. That means this particular meetings provides or protects the interest of the shareholder. Yes, and every company is required to hold this meeting. Yes, there is no any kind of provision like we have seen in the statutory meeting. Yes, here it is not like that. Any company, it is bound to conduct annual general meeting. Yes, and regarding the holding of the annual general meeting, no distinction will be made between a private or a public company. That means it is understood that whether it is a public company or a private company, it is important that every company should conduct annual general meeting in every financial year. Next, we have legal provisions of annual general meeting, which are specified in your section 167, 166 and 168. To start with, the annual general meeting must be held once in each year in addition to any other meeting, like other meetings also, like extraordinary general meeting or class meetings or any other meetings. It is important that this meeting should be held compulsorily. And if you see what should be the gap between one AGM and another AGM. Yes, and the gap should be not more than 15 months. Yes, that means the financial year will be 12 months, right? If you have to maintain a gap, or due to any reasons if you are unable to conduct within 12 months, not more not more than 15 months, that means additionally you will be receiving 3 months of time to complete this AGM. Yes, and for a specific reason, if you are unable to conduct AGM, yes, then the registrar may extend the time within which the AGM should be conducted. But remember that the extension cannot exceed this 3 months. That is what I was talking with you all about. Yes, now 15 months is given, that means it has to be conducted within 12 months. But if you are in a situation which is not allowing you to conduct within 12 months, it should be completed within 15 months. That means an additional period of 3 months will be given. Yes, and next we have the first AGM must be held within 18 months of the incorporation of the company, and this time cannot be extended even by the registrar. Yes, now what this point says, now any company which is at its beginning stage, that is after conducting statutory meeting, immediately within 1 year, now that means here they are giving a time period of 6 months more. That means usually you'll be having 12 months of time period, right? Now over and above that 12 months, you're given 6 months more to conduct your first AGM. That is only for first AGM. Now remember one thing, this 18 months cannot be extended even by the registrar. Yes, and remember, once the first AGM is completed, from the second AGM onwards, you have to follow the rule number 1. That is what we were discussing in the previous point. Yes, and next we have at least 21 days notice of the meeting in writing must be given to every member of the company. Yes, that means 21 days prior notice. Yes, if you remember, we were discussing about at times it may not be able to give 21 days prior notice. Yes, at that time they can give short notice also. Yes, but remember one thing, that short notice should be agreed by all the members who are entitled to vote at the. And next we have any meeting which is to be conducted or which is to be scheduled, it should be strictly on business hours only. It should be during the business hours and also on the day which is not a public holiday. Now let us say you have scheduled a meeting and you didn't know it is a public holiday or a bandh or any kind of thing. It is understood that the meeting will be immediate next day. Yes, if it is not a Sunday, remember that thing. Yes, and lastly we have if the company fails to hold the annual general meeting, what are the provisions that it is going to face? Like times the company may know, if it is unable to conduct or if it is not conducting, what is that it is going to face? Yes, first one, any member of the company can apply to the central government for the calling of the meeting. That means from among the members who are there in the company, they can apply, they can appeal to the central government stating that to issue an order to the company stating that to conduct the AGM. Yes, this is one thing. Yes, and the meeting called by the order of the court shall be deemed to be an annual general meeting. Yes, and the second one, yes, the company and the officer in default shall be punishable. Obviously, when they are not conducting, one thing they can apply for the court to conduct the meeting, and the other thing, if they are unable to conduct, straight away they are punishable under the law. Yes, now the company as a whole and each and every officer who are responsible for not conducting the meeting will be made liable for the punishment. Yes, and here you will be liable to pay amount, as well as each officer has to pay 2,500 for every day. Now how you will calculate every day? Usually the company gives you 15 months time, right? Now once that 15 months time is completed, every day 2,500 need to be paid by each and every member. Yes, now apart from this, at times it may also made liable for imprisonment also. Yes, either this or that. At times it might be both also. So remember that if you are unable to conduct the meeting, you have to appeal to the court, and even then if you are not conducting the AGM, you will be made punishable under the law. And this is about your annual general meeting. Next, we have extraordinary general meeting. Now, previously we have seen statutory meeting, which will be conducted only once in the lifetime of the company, and next we have seen annual general meeting, which will be conducted only once in every financial year. Now, there will be certain situations, yes, where you need to take decisions, and you have to meet at one place, yes, for certain kind of specific type of situations, or projects, or any other kind of these things. Now, at that time you will be calling a meeting, which is to be called as your extraordinary general meeting. That is what your meaning says. Yes, it is a meeting other than your statutory meeting and annual general meeting of the company, and this meeting is called for dealing some kind of urgent special businesses, and which cannot be postponed till the next annual general meeting. As I was discussing with you all, what do you mean by special business and general business in the previous presentation. So it is not required here to discuss again. Yes, any kind of situation which cannot be postponed and which have to be taken decision right there, at that type of situations, your extraordinary general meetings need to be conducted. And here are the legal provisions of extraordinary general meeting, which are contained in your section 169 and 186 of Companies Act 1956. To start with, we have first one, calling for extraordinary general meeting by the board of the directors. That means any board of directors may call for the meeting on their own, or any one particular director or any two persons, they can call for the meeting if there is any situation that need to be discussed and to be taken a decision. Yes, now at times if the quorum, that is the minimum number of members that are required to conduct the meeting, if that is not satisfied, now even the members can also be included in this particular extraordinary general meeting. And next we have calling extraordinary general meeting on the requisition of the members. That is, the directors are bound to call an extraordinary general meeting. Yes, and if they are bound to call the members, yes, now what are the legal provisions on the requisition of the members? That means if they have to call the members, what are the provisions that are being laid upon? First one is, the requisition for calling this meeting must be signed by every member who hold at least 1/10 of the paid up capital of the company. That means whatever the company is there, at least each person should hold 1/10 of the capital. That means who have the right to vote at the meeting. That is the first one. And next we have the matter for consideration be called. That is, it should be deposited at the registered office of the company. That means all this need to be registered. Yes, and next one more thing we have, that is, only matters that can be taken up at the meeting which is specified in the requisition, and in respect of which requisitionists have the voting strength as stated in clause. That means only the reasons which are specified in this particular requisition need to be discussed, and this requisition, if they have to vote, that voting powers which we have discussed in the second point, that is, every member should have 1/10 of the capital, must be applicable for each member of the company. And next we have after depositing a valid requisition in the registered office, the director should move to call for the meeting. That means within 21 days, that is before 21 days, they have to deposit this requisition and have to send to the members of the company. And once this notice is being sent, within 45 days, that means after 21 days, whenever the meeting is scheduled, yes, within 45 days the meeting must be completed. And next we have, if the board does not proceed to call this meeting, that means you have given the notice and the day has come, and the day has been passed through and 45 days has been completed. Even then, if you are not conducting the meeting, now who all the requisitionist, that is the members whom we have sent, they can proceed to call the meeting. That means usually the board of directors has to call, and if they are not calling within 45 days from the date, now these members can only call for the meeting that is before 3 months. Now for the board, the limit is 45 days, and for the members the limit is 3 months. And lastly, we have calling of extraordinary general meeting by the tribunal, that is the company law board. Yes. Now sometimes it is impracticable to call or hold or to conduct any kind of meeting of the company other than any annual general meeting. Usually companies don't have, every year they don't have AGM, at times not AGM, extraordinary general meeting. Yes, they want to have AGM, but there is no rule that every company must have extraordinary general meeting every year. Yes, it depends upon the situations. Yes, in such cases, the company law board, that is the tribunal, is empowered to call the meeting. Yes, but things that are to be noted here is the company law board should give an order. Yes, order of meeting to be conducted. Yes, in accordance with the directions. The company law board will give you the directions to conduct a meeting. And next we have whatever the company law board gives an order, yes, either of its own or on the application of any director who is entitled to vote at the meeting. That means either the company law board itself can give you the notice to conduct extraordinary general meeting, or else any director is applying to the company law board to give the to conduct the extraordinary general meeting. Even at that time also they can have the extraordinary general meeting. So these three are the legal provisions which are need to be kept in mind whenever you have to conduct your extraordinary general meeting. The last meeting under the meetings of members, that is class meetings. It is a meeting of a particular class of shareholders. Generally, the company has two, classes of shareholders, namely equity shareholders and preference shareholders. Yes. Now, how these meetings affect each class? Yes, only a meeting of particular class of shareholders is held. Now, one thing you have to note here is that only the shareholders of particular class have the right to be present. That means whoever is having that particular right have to attend the meeting. For example, if the rate of dividend on preference shares is to be reduced, yes, that means the meeting of preference shares will be called, at which only preference shares are entitled to be present, because the matter of discussion and deciding is about preference. So only preference shareholders will be attending the meeting and deciding. Yes. And the most frequent class meetings in is the right attached to the shares of any particular shareholders are to be varied. A separate meeting for that particular class of shareholders must be held, and that should be proved at the meeting by a special resolution. Now, what do you mean by special resolution? General and specific. Yes, special resolution I have discussed with you all in the previous presentation only. And finally, we can say that class meetings means only that particular class of shareholders will be present, as well as who have additional voting rights. Whichever member has additional voting rights, even they have the right to attend the meeting. Yes, other than those, no other member like member or board of director will have the right to attend the meetings of this particular class meetings. Yes, here we conclude meetings of members. Here we start with second classification of kinds of meetings, that is other meetings. That means in addition to the meetings that we have discussed above, that is statutory meeting, AGM, extraordinary general meeting and class meetings, there are also other meetings which the company may conduct. There is no compulsion, but it may, if the situation comes, it may conduct. Yes, and these are as follows, like meetings of directors, meetings of creditors, and meetings of debenture holders. These are discussed in detail in the further slides. To start with, we have the first one, that is meetings of directors. Yes, now we all know that, right? All the directors are responsible for the overall control and supervision of the affairs of the company. This we have seen in the earlier chapters also. Yes, so that means the director acts collectively. All the board of directors, collection of directors, usually we call them as a board. Yes, and these people are bound to do any kind of activity only if it is delegated. That means only if any work is being delegated to individual, they have to do. If it is given to the board as a whole, they are responsible to complete that particular activity. Now what is the underlying condition here? Only if the power is being given, they are supposed to exercise. If no such power is being given, they are not bound to do any kind of activity or work. Yes, but here one thing you need to remember, that these kind of meetings are more frequent than your shareholder meetings. Why? Because shareholders are once in a while, they come, they look into the affairs of the company and they move. Yes, but actual picture is, in all the activities you can see only the director's hands. Yes, these are the people who actually work out on the projects right from the beginning till the end. Yes, so more than the shareholders meetings, we get to see more meetings which are conducted by directors. Yes, now a company must hold meetings of its board at least once in every that means once in every quarter. Yes, they have to conduct the meeting, this particular meetings of directors. Yes, and at least 4 meetings of the directors must be held in every year. We know that in a year they have 4 quarters, right? Dividing 3 months each. Yes, in each quarter you should at least have 1 meeting of the directors. Yes, so that is regarding your meetings of directors. Next, we have meetings of creditors. We know who are our creditors, right? The people who, give us the credit facility to conduct or to take up any kind of, business activity. Yes, the meetings of creditors are held by any order of the court. Yes, sometimes the court may give an order. Sometimes an arrangement is proposed between the company and its creditors or any class of creditors, like so to settle down any issue, the company can call for the meeting between the company and the creditors. Usually this kind of meetings goes on where there is compromise or any kind of situation, or end of credit line or extent of credit period, whatever the situation might be, they can call for the meeting of the creditors. Yes, now what happens in such cases? The court have to give an order that they have to go for the meeting of creditors. Yes, or a particular class of creditors also. Now what is this class of creditors? Yes, now there are different sources from where a company can get money. Yes, usually there are 2 types of sources, right? Owned funds and borrowed funds. Owned funds is what your shareholders are. Yes, but whereas borrowed funds, you have borrowings from bank or debenture holders, issuing of bonds. Yes, financial institutions, banks, any class. Yes, now that means you can conduct a meeting for all the creditors, or you can call for only particular source of creditors from whom you have adopted a credit facility. Yes, and once kind of order is being given, yes, the company have to go for conducting such kind of meeting. Yes, in case if the company is liquidating, yes, with the other company, or if it is liquidating itself, then the application must be filled by the liquidator. That means whenever there takes place winding up, there will be a person who will be appointed to take up all such kind of winding up activities. That person will be called as a liquidator. Yes, now in such a case, this particular liquidator should be present to call for the meetings of the creditors. Yes, and so far this is about the meeting of creditors. And lastly, we have meetings of debenture holders. Just now I was talking about there are various ways from where a company can accumulate money. Now even debenture holders are also one among them. Now these debenture holders can also conduct meeting from time to time in accordance with the provisions. Yes, now where these provisions are specified, these are specified in the trust deed, debenture trust deed. That means whenever they issue a debenture, they'll be receiving a document. In that is to be called as your trust deed, debenture trust deed, and in that all the legal provisions like rules, regulations, terms, conditions will be specified. Yes, and these meetings are usually held when conditions of issue of debentures are to be altered. Let's say you're increasing the percentage or decreasing the percentage, or the rate of the debenture, or the interest of the debenture, or the time period. Yes, we have different types of debentures also, like convertible, non-convertible, performance, non-performance, participative, non-participative. Now whenever you're going to alter any conditions relating to any kind of debenture, at that time this kind of meetings are to be held. Yes, now at times you can conduct this kind of meetings for making a compromise also. Yes, now those meetings of debenture holders may also be held through an order of the court. That means here also you have two options. You can go on your own of calling a meeting between the company and the debenture holders, or debenture holders themselves can conduct a meeting, or even the court may also give the order to conduct a meeting of the debenture holders. Yes, and so far this is the second classification, that is other meetings of a company. Yes, so here we end with meetings topic and this particular chapter as well, that is the company meetings. Thank you for watching the video.